Hello, Becky Duff here. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I am here to talk about books I need to read. These are not all my 2023 TBR. These are different kinds of books. These are books that they are all nonfiction books, and they are not something you just sit down and power through and read all in a weekend or a week or however long it would take you to read a book like this. These are books that you would kind of read a chapter here, a chapter there. You might flip through the books and pick chapters that, if you're having an issue with something, you would go to that chapter to look at what it's telling you to do. So I'm just going to talk about these 6 books that I have that are giant on my TBR that I need to get to, that I was hoping to read this year. And it is already June. We're already almost halfway through the year, and I haven't even started these books yet. So let's jump in. The first one, I just have a stack of books beside me, and I'm just grabbing them. This is by Donalyn Miller. That's a pretty name. The Book Whisperer, Awaking the Inner Reader in Every Child. And my friend bought me this for Christmas, I believe. Not my birthday. I think this was Christmas because it's more of a family book. 2 years ago now, 2 Christmases ago. Anyways, this is the book. And I need to read it. I have 4 children, 2 daughters that do quite a bit of reading already. My one daughter listens to a lot of audiobooks. She loves the Wings of Fire series and is always listening to them. There's 15 books at least in that series now, and she's listened to all of them more than once. And then the graphic novels, she owns those and loves those. And my other daughter reads majority graphic novels and loves the graphic novel Babysitters Club, and I've been getting her into a few other, just finding books and stuff at our library, and it's been great. My son, on the other hand, he's not as big into reading, but he is just learning how to read. He is 7.5 now, and he is in grade 2. They're all in French, and they don't do English until grade 4. So they even mentioned that they will be a little bit behind in their English reading for a little bit, but then they'll catch up, and they could exceed even those who are just learning English, just having that second language. So I'm not really worried about him. I just wish I could, homework battles are terrible, and I just wish I could get him to do a little bit more reading, but mostly we're just sitting and reading with him, and I try and get him to read a word here or there. And then my 4th child, my second son, is 16 months old, and he loves flipping through books and stuff and drawing all over them, but he's not quite at the reading stage just yet. This book I need to get into. It's kind of big this way, but it's not very thick. The margins are huge in that. I just got a ring light. We'll see if that, those are, the margins are quite large. So, and there's little read aloud favorites. So fiction for elementary kids, memoirs. These are all elementary and stuff. So that's kind of cool. It's got different things in here. I haven't even flipped through this book yet. So I really appreciate, my friend is really good at giving really great gifts, and I'm terrible at following through with reading a lot of those gifts. It's not always books, but in this case it was. Self-reflection activity. What were your reading experiences as a child? How long did it take for you to read these books? Which books were read for pleasure? So another thing here. So that's cool. So that's one of the books I have to get into, and I'm trying to see where I can put these because I got a puzzle all over this place. Just move those puzzle pieces over. The second book is Taking Charge of ADHD, The Complete Authoritative Guide for Parents by Russell A. Barkley, PhD. We saw this in the bookstore, and my husband was looking through it, and no one in our family, kid-wise, had been diagnosed with ADHD. My husband does have it. I'm beginning to think I might have some ADD, maybe not the H part of it, but the ADD part of it, because I was watching a video with my husband, the clutter bug, and talking about cleaning your house, and she's like, cleaning tips for people with ADHD. And I was like, hey, husband, this would be great. Let's watch this together. And everything she said, I was like, yep. And I agreed with everything she said. And my husband was like, yeah, those are good tips. And I was like, maybe I have ADD and I just don't know it. But this was a parent's guide, and none of our kids had been diagnosed, but we have been struggling with my son for a while now. And my husband was diagnosed as a kid. So, my husband started reading it. And he was just saying, even just reading, not the first chapter, but the first paragraph, he's like, it affected him. And I was like, let's pick it up. Even if our son doesn't have the clinical diagnosis of ADHD, this might still just give us some tips on how to deal with a hyperactive child. He has since been diagnosed and we are working to get help with that and resources to help us with that, and this is one of them. This one is a little bit more dense than maybe the reading one. I think the Book Whisperer is supposed to be fun and teaching you like how to get excited about reading. This one is more, I'm gonna guess, clinical. It is a complete authoritative guide, so hopefully it isn't too scientifically, like a lot of medical terms and scientific terms, and you're like, what does this mean? What does this mean? Hopefully it's for laymen. I'm the kind of person like this one. Let's see if there's contents. So what is attention deficit hyperactivity? What's really wrong with my child? What causes ADHD? What does not cause ADHD? Deciding to have your child evaluated, preparing for evaluation, coping with diagnosis, how to take care of yourself. So like this is the kind of book you probably should read start to finish. And I'm the kind of person who would read it that way. But like I said, some of these books, the one book I have on here, you could like flip through and pick the chapters that you are struggling with the most, or that are like, maybe you want to read the whole book eventually, but you're like, I need to get this stuff done right now. I really need help with this one specific issue. But yeah, for me, I am the kind of person who wants to read it start to finish. So that definitely makes it more daunting. And I feel like if this goes over reading it like the whole year, if I go into 2024 and I'm still reading this, it's just going to feel really, I'm just going to feel really bogged down reading this book, especially with all these other books I want to read that are like this. So this is what's slowing me down and keeping me, instead of just, this is my problem, I'm like, it's going to take me too long to read, so I'm just not going to pick it up at all and not read it at all. And it's going to take me even longer to get to it. And it's also kind of like, because I want to pick up all of these books. And what am I supposed to do? Sit down before bed and read for 2 hours a chapter each book? Like, it's not a realistic goal to do that. So I just have to set aside time, pick up one here, pick up one there, and figure it out. Tell me, do you read a lot of nonfiction? Do you read like self-help and stuff like that? I don't read self-help as much as Christian self-help, I guess. Like, it's not really self-help, it's God help, but like self-help isn't my main genre of nonfiction, but I do pick up quite a bit of nonfiction. Nonfiction November is coming up. Maybe I can take one of these books and focus on reading that. Just that one book. Not one book in November, but that one nonfiction book throughout the month. I like to take, there's 30 days in November, so I could take the pages and divide it by 30 and read that many kind of thing. Well, there's suggested reading in the back, of course. How do you tackle these kind of books on your TBR? Let me know in the comments down below. The next book I want to pick up, I heard on Dr. Phil's podcast, Fill in the Blanks. Phil spelt like Dr. Phil, Phil, of course. It just sounded so good. This one is also a giant chunker book and another medical book. Oh, I just picked up here, right? Children who have ADD and ADHD. So it even talks about that. So this is Daniel G. Amen, MD, The End of Mental Illness, How Neuroscience is Transforming Psychiatry and Helping Prevent or Reverse Mood and Anxiety Disorders, ADHD, Addictions, PTSD, Psychosis, Personality Disorders, and more. So I think this is going to be a really fascinating read. That is, you cannot see with this light, that is a brain on the cover. Well, the letters are bumpy. There is new hope for those dealing with anxiety, depression, bipolar disorders, PTSD, ADHD, and addictions. An evidence-based revolution in the diagnosis and treatment of these conditions is improving outcomes for the first time in decades. And Daniel Amen, MD, neuroscientist and double board certified psychiatrist, is helping to lead the charge. He explains why you no longer have to rely solely on standard treatments offered by experts trained according to an old paradigm. While medication and talk therapy are sometimes helpful and appropriate, there is much you can do to improve your own brain health. And more practitioners are using evidence-based neuroscience to help their patients. This isn't one of those books that's just like, oh, you have depression, oh, you have ADHD, just, think happy thoughts. You'll feel better. And it doesn't sound like it's against medication either. It's about both end kind of situation. Like it said there, like talk therapy and medication can help, but here's more that you can do. You don't want to just throw medication at it and then that's it. That's your fix. This is something more you can do to help brain health. And that's why I thought this was really interesting, because we talk about physical health, we talk about mental health, but part of that is brain, the actual organ of the brain, of the mind. Mental health, brain health. So I am very interested to dive into this one. I should have picked this up in May because it was like, Mental Health Awareness Month? Chances are it could be still sitting there by next May. This next book, this is not a book I would have picked up on my own. My friend has been going on a little bit of a spiritual journey lately and not going towards a certain religion like Christianity or Judaism or anything, but more astrology, looking at the stars and your horoscope and things like The Secret. That was a book that was popular. I don't know when it came out, but it's been popular for a while, and they did like a Netflix series and stuff. I read The Secret 14 years ago or so. She's more getting into that kind of stuff and like your chakras and spiritual things. So that's not me. I am a Christian. The Bible tells us not to go to like psychics or mediums. Don't go to those things. Don't look to the stars to get your answers. I don't think the Bible explicitly says like those won't give you the answers. It's more like go to God. Seek God for the answers. You don't need to seek a medium to speak to your dead great-great-grandmother. Just go to God for that stuff. And I do believe in spirits, and there's good and evil, and I don't want to mess around with like a Ouija board. I know a lot of people don't believe in that stuff, but I can't say I believe in it or not, but I believe like if something did contact you through a Ouija board, it is a spirit you don't want to be messing with. You don't want to be talking to that spirit. That is not for you. I just stay away from that stuff. And that stuff, like Ouija boards, like even as a kid, when I wasn't a Christian or anything, that stuff just freaked me out. I don't want to be contacted by people or spirits. Okay? Thank you. I have a direct communication with God. I don't need any of that in-between stuff. And my friend, she's like, I'm going to send you this book, and it is The Law of Attraction, the Basics of the Teachings of Abraham. This is by Esther and Jerry Hicks, and she sent me this at the beginning of the year, and I have not picked it up yet. I was thinking about picking it up and like highlighting, putting notes and stuff like that in it, and then sending it back to her maybe, so she can get an idea of like what I believe, what I think is good or bad. I don't know. I don't want to be like pushy or anything like that. And she knows what my faith is. She knows what I believe, and she respects that, and it's not for her, and that's fine. And I respect that she's on her own spiritual journey. We all are. But I just thought it would be kind of cool to have like highlight some things or put little sticky notes in it or whatever, and just be like, I believe in this, or yeah, this is talked about in the Bible. And it does say it's about Abraham, so I'm not sure. A Ouija board spells the alphabet. Should I meditate? Sheila channels Theo. I don't know what this is about and what the Abraham thing is, but I told my friend I would give it a chance. Anyways. And then a book I picked up. This was probably also recommended on Dr. Phil's podcast, and it is Why We Sleep, Unlocking the Power of Sleep and Dreams, Matthew Walker, PhD. This one's a pretty thick, not floppy paperback at all. I really like the cover of it. It's like the night sky. My baby is crying. I have this and one more book to pick up. So I'll do this really quick. I think this one's pretty straightforward about why I want to read it, because I need sleep. And I'm not getting enough sleep. And my crying baby upstairs is telling you why I don't get enough sleep. But I believe he was also on Dr. Phil, and just what he was talking about, wherever I heard about this book, what the author was talking about and stuff just sounded really interesting. And again, this would be a good one to read with the mental illness one, because sleep is so important to so many aspects of our health, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. Sleep is so important, and this is definitely one I should be picking up before I go to bed and helping me to relax and get away from technology and the blue light and all that stuff, and just reading a book, and this would be a good one to pick up. So this, and then one more. I picked this book up from Chapters on my birthday, not last year, but the year before that, because you get like it was like a 20% off thing for your birthday month. And this was a book I wouldn't have normally picked up on my own, but it had like a $20 sticker on it. And I was like, okay, that's worth it. And we had a dog, our Basset Hound, but we didn't have a puppy or anything like that. And our Basset Hound, not that you shouldn't start eating healthy as you get older, and same with your dogs. It's not like that, but I was kind of like, well, she already eats a decent diet and stuff like that, but I want to pick up this book for the next time we get a puppy. And we got a puppy, and I still haven't read the book. But she's only 11 months. She's still a puppy. I got time. But this is The Forever Dog, Surprising New Science to Help Your Canine Companion Live Younger, Healthier, and Longer, by Rodney Habib and Dr. Karen Shaw Becker. So, with Kristen Loberg. So, I picked this up because I was getting a discount and stuff, and I was like, oh, it's only $20, and it's something I want to read when I get a dog. This is the book that I want to read front to back, but I can probably just flip through. You can see I already have a tab there, and that was talking about dog food ingredient list. So like what to look for in your dog food when you're buying it. Like this is talking about like avoid buying dog food with any of these ingredients. And there's also recipes for raw food. And if I had lots of money, I would be feeding my dog raw, but I can't. Everything is expensive lately, but one day we're at that point. This one talks about our co-evolution with dogs, so wild wolves to willful pets, the science of aging, surprising truths about dogs and their risk factors for disease, de-aging through diet, triple threat, stress, isolation, and lack of physical activity affect us all, environmental impact, the difference between a muddy dog and a dirty dog, personalized meals as medicine, and fitness guidelines and stuff. Yeah, this is the other book I need to read. Maybe my husband and I can go through this one together as well, because he's part of taking care of this dog as well. It's not just all on me. So these are all the books I need to read that I haven't got to yet. All nonfiction, all ones. And another reason why I haven't got to them is because I'm going to want to like highlight and take notes. And it's not just like a quick, easy, fluffy read, you know? So I will keep you posted if I get to these. We'll see by the end of the year what I have gotten to. Anyways. So thank you for watching. Comment down below if you've read any of these books. Let me know what you're currently reading and leave a little book stack emoji in the comments below. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye!